What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show. Delighted to be joined today by Fabian Edwards for his big Bellator middleweight title fight with Johnny Eblen coming up here in October 19th at the PFL Super Fight Series. Fabian, thank you very much for joining me. How are you today? Not too long now until the fight's only a couple of weeks away.
Yeah, only a few weeks away. I'm doing good. I'm doing very well. I'm in great shape. The weight's low. It's all good. It's all good. I'm excited.
Obviously, this fight was supposed to happen on September 14th, which is, we're kind of halfway between both points now. Could you tell us what happened and why was the delay and why is it happening on October 19th instead?
To be honest, I don't even know. You know what I mean? I don't even know, but I'm just happy that the fight remains the same. You know what I mean? Like, the fight remained the same. I was a bit ticked off at first because I was ready to go. You know what I mean? I was ready to go. Camp was pretty much done, but it's the name of the game, and like I said, I appreciate PFL for keeping me on the fight card, keeping the fight on.
Did you hear anything? Did you hear Johnny was injured, or they just moved the fight, or was there any inclination of what happened?
Nah. At first, I thought he was injured. You know what I mean? But someone said that he posted something saying that he's not injured. So, I don't know. I don't know what it was. I don't know. But like I said, yeah, I'm just happy that I get my chance to go out there and take that belt off him still.
What adjustment did you make? The most interesting thing when I was thinking about this fight was the adjustment in camp. Obviously, you were only a week or two out from camp, if I'm not mistaken, before the last fight.
Yeah.
And now you have to adjust to put another month onto your camp. Could you just tell us kind of what you did or what adjustments you made?
I think it's more so like believing in my full skill set. You know what I mean? And with the wrestling as well. So rather than going in there with just a defensive mindset, going there offensive wrestling as well, and I just believe in my overall game. You know, this camp's been solid. It's been a really good camp. I'm excited for it. Like, honestly, I'm just excited to go in there and have that rematch.
Was it tough to be planning to peak for one date and now you have to adjust and peak for another date?
It was at first, to be honest, because I was so ready to go. So then I thought, okay, let me have a bit of time off because my weight was low. I was flying through sparring without getting tired. Everything was just like where it meant to be, and I had to just make the adjustment. But I timed it right, you know. So I feel like I timed it right.
How, like in that situation, how much of a break do you take? How do you know? Did you speak to anyone about it, or had anyone kind of been through a similar thing before? What kind of went through the decision making process?
I told my coaches. Said that make sure you have a week off. I had a week off, then I went back to training, and I was just flying. You know what I mean? I felt like I was still operating like I'm fighting. I could fight there and then. So I had to have a bit more time where I didn't go too crazy in training. And yeah, it worked out well. Like I said, I got a lot of professionals around me, so everyone gave me the right advice.
Are you the sort of fighter that's kind of in the gym all the time preparing, or are you kind of the I know a lot of people now go for camps and like they're there for the 12 weeks before and then, you know, they take their breaks or whatever. Or which way do you normally do it?
Nah, I'm the six. I train 6 days a week. Sorry, 6 days, a week, all year round. Like regardless, you know what I mean. So I'm the type that's like I need to do more constantly. You know, the coaches are constantly trying to reel me back in and tell me to calm down. So I enjoy it. You know, I enjoy it, and there's a lot in my head. There's a lot to learn and a lot for me to improve on. So I can't be having too much of a long break.
Obviously, this is, you know, probably the biggest card of the year for PFL and Bellator, and we'll get to that in a second. But obviously, as someone living in Birmingham and with the hometown crowd, it must have been. Was it a disappointment not to have the fight in London?
Oh yeah, definitely. Everyone that it's Saudi, and like it's gonna be amazing to be on Saudi, but for me to drive down the road to London, have a scrap, come back with a world title, you know what I mean? I was looking forward to that, to be honest. But it is what it is. Like I said, it is what it is. I'm happy I still get my chance to go out there and prove that I am the best middleweight in the world. And yeah, October 19th.
What about this Saudi card? Obviously, it's a bit of an adjustment. It's kind of hot out there at that time of the year as well and stuff. And a massive card, obviously, the big Francis Ngannou card. You know, probably one of the for a lot of people, probably the biggest card they've ever fought on. For you, it's a massive card as well. I assume you can't wait for that one.
Yeah, I'm excited. Obviously, it doesn't change the fact, but I'm just excited. I feel like these are the moments that, as an athlete, you live for. To be on a big card and to go out there and showcase the skills, and to win a world title, and to get back a fucking get a win over someone that's beat you. It's just it's perfect for me. It's a perfect setup for me. It makes me excited. So yeah, like I say, I can't wait.
I'll get back to the fight in one second, but there was something I actually saw as I was kind of coming in here earlier on, and I saw that those two comedians from Sky were in the gym. What was it, Rom, and what's the other guy's name? Rob, is it? Were down in your gym.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to meet with them, or do any bit of messing around with them lads, or how did that come about?
Nah, not really. Not really. Obviously I met them and said hello and stuff like that, but not really. It's funny because obviously a few of the guys came out in the gym and we're just cracking on training, and they're just thinking, what the hell? You know what I mean? We're just beating the life out of each other. So, but yeah, it's nice for them to come down and shine that light on MMA to the audience that probably don't watch MMA.
Yeah, was there a bit of a buzz around the gym after him being around in for a while? Saw a few of the normal human beings around an MMA gym rather than the fighters.
Yeah. Nah, definitely was, like a few of the boys. If I'm honest, I don't really watch them myself, but a few of the boys was they was buzzing that obviously they came down, so it was good to have them there.
Obviously, you're one of the long time Bellator signees now. You've fought a lot in Bellator, and this is going to be obviously on PFL, and it's kind of weird. I was trying to think the other day, a Bellator title fight on a PFL card. That can't have happened too many times in MMA history, where one title has been fought on someone else's card. What do you feel like? Obviously, the two PFL and Bellator have kind of amalgamated over the last year or so. What are your feelings on that? Are you happy to go with PFL or Bellator, or are you team Bellator all the way?
So I'm team Bellator. Like my main thing was, will I fight for who I'm fighting for, and will I be the people that deal with me? Will I still be dealing with them? And yeah, so that will remain the same. And yeah, like I said, I've been with Bellator for a long time now. Probably like 6 going on 7 years or so, most of my career. So it feels good. I just hope they still allow me to elbow. You know what I mean? I hope they still allow them elbows.
Obviously, that was a big part of the first fight. I believe elbows are allowed in this fight as well. I was going to ask you if you'd like to go into the PFL tourney in the future. Is that something, while elbows are not allowed, that you wouldn't be up for?
I know, yeah, I don't really get it. I hope they change it. I do hope they change it. You know what I mean? Because it's a scrap at the end of the day, so everything should be allowed. But I wouldn't mind. Like I've always, when I watch the tournament, I like that. I like the fact they can have like 4 or 5 fights in the space of 9 months or whatever it is. I like that. So I would love to go out there, take the belt off him, and then next year do a year of a tournament.
Can you explain, because you're a perfect person, because you fight very well out of the clinch and are very good at landing elbows, and as we said, look, anyone who watches the first fight will know how big of a part elbows can play. I've noticed a lot of the fights where there aren't elbows, there's a lot of clinching and a lot of it's maybe easier to get into the clinch when there's someone not throwing an elbow right in your face. Is that something you find that, maybe obviously in training and stuff you mightn't be throwing elbows the same way obviously you wouldn't have fight, but could you explain to people why it makes such a big difference for elbows to be allowed in that sort of position?
Yeah, it's just obviously the range that we're in. We're in such a short range, so that's like an elbow and knee type of range if you want to land most damage. Obviously you can punch from the clinch, but where the real damage is going to happen is going to be from your elbows or your knees. You know what I mean? So the fact that can't be allowed in PFL, especially a fighter like me, I like to use all of my tools, so that would be a disadvantage. But regardless, we'll have to find a way around it. We would find a way around landing something in the clinch. I might land one by accident. You know what I mean? If he was to fight in PFL, I'll probably land one by accident and then get told off by the ref or something.
Yeah, I think a few people have landed them by accident in PFL. All right, over the last one.
I'll be one of those,
yeah. The referee wants to think it's fine anyway. Come here. I have a bit of inside information for you, because I was obviously the last fight was on in Ireland and I was at it, and Johnny came back afterwards and he gave his interview. And one of his teammates came up to him, and they obviously had to judge his cards, and they told him that you had won the first round. And he was absolutely shocked. He was like, no way, I won that first round. I was dominating the fight. How do you react to that? Because like, I watched it back today. It was a relatively close round, but everyone talking about the fight and everything seemed to think you were ahead. What do you, to that information? Maybe you already knew it, but what's your reaction to I suppose how Johnny felt at the time?
Obviously, it's someone else that I haven't lost round before, so he probably didn't know how to take it. You know what I mean? In my head, everyone always mentioned the elbow, but for me, I'm like, forget the elbow. It's the rounds before, and there was nothing that he threw at me. Obviously, before he caught me, he wasn't better than me in any areas. He wasn't able to wrestle me up. He wasn't able to outstrike me. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at his skill for skill, and there was no areas that he was better than me at. It's just MMA. You get caught sometimes. There's 4 rounds to the gloves. You ain't got time to recover sometimes, and that's all I look at it as. Like I know I won those 2 rounds. Yeah, I mean he caught me, and it is what it is. He won't catch me again.
There seemed to be like a genuine bit of needle even beforehand. You kind of had to be separated at the press conference, and there was talk of an elevator and all of this, and then obviously he came up and roared at you after the fight and things. Is there needle there? Do you not like Johnny, or is it more a competitive thing?
Obviously, I don't. So I don't like the kid because I don't say fake people. You know what I mean? Like Johnny's the type to see me in the elevator, say hello, and then when people are around, act all crazy. You know what I mean? So I don't like that. You have to keep the same energy. And plus as well, someone that's beat me, someone that's beat me at anything, even if it was a game of cards, like I'd be thinking I need to get you back. You know what I mean? So let alone it being fighting, something I'm passionate about. I gotta get him back. You know what I mean? I gotta even the score, and I really believe I will.
What did you think of that reaction? Obviously, at the time, you probably didn't even see it, but watching it back, like Johnny's reaction afterwards, did you think it was a bit disrespectful, or what was your thoughts on it?
Right, not disrespectful at all. We're fighting. You know what I mean? We're fighting each other. How more disrespectful can it get than a man punching your face in? You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it. If Johnny wants to behave in whatever way he wants to behave, he can do that. He beat me, so he has the right to act how he wants to act. Whether everyone thinks he's not behaving like a gentleman, and forget all that. We're fighting. We're fighting. If Johnny's on the street and he beat me on the street, he can do what he wants, and that's how I look at fighting. It's fighting at the end of the day. This ain't like a game of whatever. This is fighting. It's brutal, and that's the name of the game, isn't it?
If you beat him, you plan on having a bit back for him afterwards?
I don't know what celebration I do, but something's coming out. I might get banned off TV, you know what I mean?
You never know. You never know. One thing I wanted to ask as well after watching the fight back, and you obviously, we talked about the elbow, but a lot of strikers who fight wrestlers, and I know you're both well rounded, so I don't mean it that way, but like a lot of people who want to strike against wrestlers refuse to throw kicks. They're afraid, especially against a guy like Johnny, who's good at getting like his big single legs or doubles or whatever. You had no problem seemingly throwing kicks in that fight. You threw a lot of kicks and they landed very successfully. Can you talk us through that? Like if there's any intricacies, any little points you would tell us about why it's safe for someone like you to throw kicks against someone like Johnny when you think logic would say that it isn't?
Them people just can't kick properly, innit? You know what I mean? That's it must be on how they return their kicks. It must be like on their return. They probably return in out of position or something like that, or they're probably not setting it up properly. Whereas for me, I'm gonna kick freely. If I go in that fight and I start thinking I shouldn't do that, he's already one up on me. You know what I mean? So it's about me going in there, flowing through my skill set, throwing kicks, elbows, punches, doing what I want to do, and dealing with whatever problem he tried to throw at me.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like it's one of those. When you're watching fights, like, do you think it's one of those things where a lot of strikers maybe fall down against wrestlers that they're not, not confident enough in actually throwing their strikes, and if they're not going to throw their strikes, they're not going to beat the wrestler?
That's it. Like once they go, with most wrestlers, they're not great at jiu-jitsu, so the whole game is going in there getting you tired and wearing on you, and obviously it's an effective style, but at the same time, they're just wrestling. Yeah, it's just wrestling. Like majority of them ain't gonna take you down and ruin your face. Most of them, you know what I mean. So if he takes me down, so what? I'll just get back to the feet and I put hands on him again. And I thought that's how I'm looking at it. Where the first time I was like, oh, wrestling, but now I'm like, if he does try to take me down, and he does take me down, I'll get back to my feet, and I'll start putting elbows and knees on him again. You know what I mean? And that's it. I'm not looking at it as he's superior in wrestling. I ain't looking at anything like that. He's not superior in whatever way, in none of the ways. So yeah, fuck his wrestling.
You said afterwards there was one error that led to getting dropped and leading to the fight in. And what was that error?
It was obviously I caught him a beautiful left hand before the he caught me. Caught him my left hand. And I should have circled. I should have circled. That was the first error. The second error was I tried to time him with a knee, and my positioning after the knee was terrible. I mean, I'm one for technique, so when I see myself doing something bad, I'm like, especially when it cost me a world title, I'm like, what the hell have you been doing? So I made sure I got back to the gym. I fixed that error and how to land after I throw my knees, especially in close quarters, and that's it. It wasn't a case of he was a better man that set me up. He was just throwing wild punches, and I was out of position, and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, he's not better than me. That's I don't care if he beat me. He's not better than me. It's my error.
Is that an advantage so for kind of the quick-ish rematch? I know it's been a year and you've had one fight in between it. That, like, we see all the time, like, if there's a game of football at the weekend, you lose, you make a mistake, you can go back and you can make it right the next week. It's obviously a lot harder for mixed martial arts fighters or boxers or people like that. Is that a massive advantage for you? Do you feel that this is coming around pretty quickly? You're the same fighter, he's the same fighter, basically, maybe a little bit better on both sides, but that you could fix that pretty quickly?
Yeah, like I say, it wasn't like people always mention the elbow, but I'm like, you have to mention the fight. And there wasn't any areas that I thought, okay, oh my, he was just so much better than me. You know what I mean? There was no errors. There's no errors. Sorry, that you thought, oh my God, Johnny's a superior, and Fabian's down there. There wasn't. You know what I mean? There wasn't going into that third round. So, like I say, in a football match, you lose a match. Next week, you go back and you beat that team. So, yeah.
Last question I have here. I'd ask you for a prediction, but I just kind of want to ask you, maybe as well as the prediction. It's been obviously a massive time. Obviously, you fought for the title. You're now fighting for it again. Leon was the champion until not too long ago, and I'm sure he'll be back. Aston Villa in the Champions League, they did very well and all that. It's great for that part of the world. Even Birmingham are doing well. I don't know how much you like them or not, but anyway, what would it mean to you to lift that title and bring it home and represent your place and put that on the wall after trying for it for so long and after trying to achieve it for so long?
So it mean a lot. Like, honestly, like, it really would mean a lot. I feel like with this camp, it's been a lot of reflecting. A lot of reflecting on just my journey. You know what I mean? I feel like I've had my ups and downs, more ups than downs. And I've came back, and I've always came back with the mindset of I'm going to be a champion. You know what I mean? I've always came back with the mindset that I am going to be a top guy. So it's gonna be good to go out there and prove to myself that I am who I say I am. You know what I mean? And to bring that back to Birmingham and add to Birmingham history and UK MMA history, that's a massive thing, because, like I said, not a lot of people have done that. So for me to be one of the people that's going to do that, it's massive. I'm excited. I'm not even nervous, but I'm just excited because the amount of work that I've done, it's just been crazy. So I can't wait.
Fabian, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. October 19th, Johnny Eblen for the middleweight title. Fabian, best of luck.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.